Hey everybody, it's John from the Hustle Daily Show. Before we get into the news today, did you know that HubSpot launched an AI chatbot that helps you build awesome campaigns at scale with just a few prompts? It's called Campaign Assistant, and it's a totally free to use AI tool that will transform the way that you build marketing campaigns at scale. And the best part? It works seamlessly with all of HubSpot's marketing and sales tools to scale your output across email, social, and more. So AI your way into the most effective campaigns yet at HubSpot.com/campaign-assistant.
What is going on, everyone? It is Monday, July 11th. I'm Rob Litterst, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. In today's episode, we're going to talk about recyclable running shoes. You heard that right. A Swiss running upstart introduced a recyclable running shoe with a very interesting sales model that could be a total game changer in sustainable fashion. But before we get to that, let's talk through the latest news in business and tech. First off, you may have heard Elon Musk inform Twitter he would like to terminate his agreement to acquire the company for $44 billion. Who could have possibly seen that coming? The move is reportedly due to Twitter's failure to share data on spam bots, and if he gets out of the deal, Musk will need to pay $1 billion for backing out, which is not exactly a small chunk of change, but I guess if you're Elon Musk, it's not too big of a deal. For their part, Twitter isn't budging. Chairman Bret Taylor said the company intends to pursue legal action to hold Musk to the original deal, which honestly looks pretty right now with the stock down 32% from the agreed upon price. If you're tired of hearing about this, I'm sorry to say it doesn't really look like the story is going away anytime soon. Next up in Canada, Rogers, one of the country's biggest telecom companies, experienced an outage on Friday that wiped out 25% of the country's internet coverage. Along with that, obviously creating some pretty angry customers that probably don't exactly love telecom companies to begin with, the outage couldn't come at a worse time for Rogers. The company's in the middle of a proposed merger with Shaw Communications, another Canadian telecom provider, but the deal's been stuck in Canada's antitrust authority. Canada already has some of the highest telecom rates in the world, and new concerns around performance issues at a massive scale probably won't bode well for Rogers' case. We recently talked about Amazon expanding their Prime Day festivities to 2 events this year, but one big retailer is rolling it back. Walmart, which usually holds its own promotion on Amazon's Prime Day, reported it does not plan to counter Amazon's event this year. The decision is due to the retailer already having more discounted items on hand than usual. That being said, Walmart isn't sparing all of its competitors. The company recently announced its own back-to-school promotion to counter Target's seasonal offering. In the world of movies, Marvel is back on top with Thor: Love and Thunder, which topped the US domestic box office this weekend with a $143 million haul. That number makes it the second best opening weekend for a Disney title this year, and gives the company a nice bounce back from Lightyear, the animated Toy Story prequel that underperformed at the box office in June. All right, that'll do it for news and headlines. Let's talk about recyclable shoes. So a recent report found that Americans are buying 5 times the clothes they did 30 years ago, but that the average item is only worn 7 times, which is just mind-blowing. It's been well documented, but fast fashion companies like Shein, Zara, and H&M have contributed to a global environmental disaster where there are just way too many clothes and nowhere to put them. So where do shoes fit into this? Shoes are typically made out of a range of materials that are really hard to separate from each other, which makes them especially difficult to recycle. As a result, most of the billions of pairs of shoes that are sold every year end up either in incinerators or in landfills. That brings us to On, which is a running brand based out of Switzerland that might have a solution. The company recently launched a new style, a running shoe called the Cloud Neo, that can be returned and recycled to make new pairs. According to the Wall Street Journal, that makes it one of the first truly circular sales models in clothing. Okay, so what does that actually mean, and what does a circular sales model actually look like? So the Cloud Neo program starts with a subscription. That's right, so instead of paying a lump sum for your pair of shoes, customers of the Cloud Neo will pay $29.99 per month for an endless supply of Cloud Neo running shoes. When the shoes get beat up, customers can send them back to On, who will then send them a new pair. From there, On ships the return shoes to a recycling plant where they're cleaned, ground, and melted into plastic pellets, and then sent to factories to assemble new pairs. So let's dig in here. First of all, that $30 per month price tag probably sounds expensive, but the On team has some logic behind it. The company estimates that the shoes will last 375 miles or roughly 6 months for the typical runner, which is a nice reminder to myself that I'm absolutely not the typical runner. I don't think I've run 375 miles in my entire life. So breaking it down with some napkin math based on that logic, the average customer will get 2 pairs per year for $360 or about $180 per pair, which actually isn't too far off prices for other high-end running shoes. Some other fun facts about the Cloud Neos. The shoe is made from a specific kind of plastic called Pebax Renew that can be melted down to its original state and recycled without needing to be disassembled, which is key to this entire process. The Cloud Neo also only comes in white because dye contaminates plastic, which again would get in the way of being able to recycle them. Lastly, On estimates that a pair of Cloud Neos generate 20% to 30% less carbon dioxide than a typical pair of shoes. The model isn't without its challenges though, so in order for new pairs to be made out of recyclable materials, customers actually need to return their old shoes, meaning the entire endeavor and program really depends on a range of variables that are kind of customer-centric, like how many people subscribe, how long are they actually going to be subscribed for, and how long do the shoes actually last for them. That 6-month, 375-mile estimation is only that. It's an estimation. On hasn't actually tested the process at full capacity yet, and this initial pilot is limited to a run of 10,000 pairs of sneakers, so they're starting small, which is probably pretty smart. The $30 per month price tag could also limit the model's appeal to a niche running crowd, many of whom might not be willing to trade performance for sustainability. And lastly, I already mentioned the shoes only come in white, which is bound to turn away some customers. If you're running 400 miles every 6 months, then those white shoes are not going to be white by the end of it, and so if you have any appreciation for the aesthetics of your shoes, you might not be super excited about a pair of white shoes. But if successful, there is one pretty incredible benefit to the Cloud Neo model. Essentially, as more shoes get purchased and returned, there's more recycled material for On to use for new pairs, meaning each new pair will have a smaller and smaller impact on the environment as they're made with more and more of this recyclable material, which is pretty cool. So hoping that one works out for them. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for turning into the Hustle Daily Show. We are a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Shout out to our editor today, Ezra Trubriano, and shout out to our executive producer, Darren Clark. If you like what you heard today, we've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter, which you can sign up for at thehustle.co. Have a wonderful Monday, and we will see you tomorrow.
Hey guys, if you listen to the Hustle Daily Show on Google Podcasts, we want to let you know that the option will no longer be available pretty soon. Google is sunsetting its podcast app sometime in early 2024 in favor of YouTube Music, and we want to give you a heads up before it's too late since that time's almost here. The Hustle Daily Show is available everywhere and anywhere that you listen to podcasts like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're using YouTube Music, we are there as well. If you're an Android fan, there are plenty of apps like Overcast, Pocket Casts, Player FM, and more. So just search for us wherever you decide to listen to your favorite podcasts.